Welcome to Degrees of Separation, a podcast where we journey to learn how we are connected and who we are connected to.
It gives us at least a glimpse of how connected we all are.
From entrepreneurs and small business owners to difference makers and thought leaders throughout our communities. This is Degrees of Separation with Joshua Peacock and Daryl DJ Sales.
What it is, what it do, man. We back off in this thing one more time, man. It's your host, Elder Joshua Peacock. Man, we got a good one scheduled for you today. We got a special guest, man. First and foremost, shout out to DJ, man. It's his birthday weekend. He's another year closer to his demise, as he says it when I called him. His birthday was Thursday, I believe. Yeah, Thursday. And so happy birthday to him, man. Wish him the best, and we look forward to having him back on the podcast. But without further ado, man, this young man, this gentleman is a very good dude, man. He has great work ethic. Former not co-host, but former co-worker of mine, none other than Barry Mcswain.
Hey, what's up, Josh? How's it going, man?
Man, ain't nothing much, man. Yes, sir, man. Our degree of separation, how do we know each other, is from work, man. We work together. I don't know. How long do we work together? When'd you start?
I worked there for about 3 years, just short of 3 years there at Cisco.
Okay.
Worked in the dry section for a couple of years, got on the forklift, and then that's when me and you crossed paths in the freezer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You worked in the dry that whole time, man?
Yeah, I was over there for a good while.
How'd you do that, man? Oh, jeez. That's
I was a
rough.
lot skinnier then, man. I was a lot of sweat.
Yeah, man. Real good dude, man. Good work ethic, man. Just a solid guy, man. Yeah, man. We had some good times in that freezer, man. You told me, man, once you hit that freezer, you knew it was time for you to go, huh?
Yeah, it's a little too cold for me. I'm
Man,
born in Florida right here, so it's too much.
Yeah, you're right, man. It does get cold, but man, that's the best place to be in that place, man.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. The selecting was easy, but easier, I should say. None of it's easy, but
Right. It's taxing. It's taxing on the body, man.
oh yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
man. So you've been in realty for how long now?
Um, like I said, I think it's just short of 3 years now. We're like 2 years, 8 months, something like that.
Okay.
It's been good. It's been good. Lot of learning, of course, up front. But finally to the point where I feel like I know a good amount. Obviously, you never know everything. Um,
Right.
and you're always learning in everything that you do. So it's been good so far. I can't complain. That's for sure.
So you got in right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah, I literally started probably 3 months. I started pretty much at the beginning of that year, and then it happened in March. Was when the
Okay.
whole pandemic started. So
Okay. I
definitely had
remember.
to learn quickly on the fly.
Yeah. That's the time to learn, man.
hmm
And you're in a very good market too, Central Florida.
hmm
What's your range that you work in?
So generally, actually, my wife recently just joined me as well, Bree. But we go about 2.5 hours each direction of us. We live here in Mount Dora in Lake County, but we're both are from Orange County ourselves. Our entire lives, both born and raised here in Central Florida. So yeah, we go 2.5 hours each way. We go to the beach line, both sides, up to Ocala, which is your neck of the woods, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
We're
Yeah.
there a lot, actually. We're there a lot. The
Oh,
prices
really?
are
Okay.
prices are decent there, so it's nice.
Yes, I just bought my house a year and a half ago.
Nice,
Yeah, I just bought
nice.
my house right at the sweet spot.
Yeah, for real. You got some good equity in there right now, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
man. It went up like maybe 50,000 in like less than a year.
Yeah,
And I
that's
was like,
awesome.
oh,
You,
this
you
is, I said, heck yeah, man. This is awesome right here, man.
got in just in time.
Yeah, man. So I remember when you started to leaving at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and having to go study for your
hmm
realtors. Was it a test, or how does that work? How do you get into realty?
So to get into it, obviously you need to start a course. The real estate course costs you a few $100. Find accredited school. Get started on that. You can either do it in person. It's a 60-hour course, or 63 hours. Sorry, can't dismiss those 3 hours, but
Yeah.
it's a 63-hour course. Once you get through that course, and you can do it in person or you can do it online. I had to do it online because of our job, of course.
Right.
And then once you get through that, you take the course test. Once you complete that, I think you have to get an 80% on that course test, and then you have to take the Florida real estate test, which is pretty difficult. I've seen some people take it a lot of times. You're able to keep taking it. It costs you money each time. It's like 35, $40, but uh,
Right.
I was one of the ones who made sure I studied it. I think the first time I got a 74, I needed a 75.
Oh man.
So I was like, "Oh, man," but, eventually, I was able to get it, without any problems, and took off from there.
So what it used to be 75, now it's 80?
Well, the 80 was for the course, so once you get
Okay.
past that course test, then it goes to the Florida test, which is a bit
Okay.
harder, so I think that's why they gave you that little 5-question buffer.
Okay. Okay. So you said so all around, how much would that cost? About $400 or $500?
For the course itself, yeah, it was about I think I got it on sale actually. It was like $300, but I think usually it's around 500 for that. Obviously, you will have some startup costs. You're going to want to buy signs and all kinds of things related with your business to get going. You'll have to get lock boxes and signs. You'll have to get pay for MLS, which is what we use to look up homes for our clients, and all that's like a yearly type of thing. So it does have its little fees here and there. You're probably gonna need a few grand to get started if you are interested in getting into the real estate field.
Okay, so are you have your own realtor business, or are you like grouped with someone else? Are you like under someone else?
So yeah, so you can either when you first start, you have to join underneath a brokerage. I recommend doing some research, definitely um, finding out what you're looking for. If you're starting, it's not a horrible idea to join like a team because they provide some training for you. That's what I ended up doing, and I did get some training, which helps.
Right,
But generally with that, you're going to give up more of your commission when you do get a sale, but obviously you're getting some training. So it goes both ways. And you're just hanging your license with that broker. After 2 years of real estate, you're able to become your own broker if you want. A lot of liability and stuff involved with that. So for me right now, I'm happy with where I'm at, um, which is Fathom Realty. So I can't complain. Nothing but good things since I've joined there. So
right.
we're pretty good where we are.
So what is a broker?
The broker is the person who's pretty much taken the liability on things. They are who where I can hang my license with them. You have to get a broker's license, and then you can get agents that work underneath you, and you kind of have a negotiation as to what the split goes. So if I sell a home, I don't get all of that money that you might see in the closing disclosure that you see for commissions.
Right,
I have to split that with my broker.
right. But they set up the listings and all that other stuff and do
No,
the
no, all that stuff's done through us. The
okay,
realtor does all the work. Really, what the broker provides us is all the paperwork that we need in order to do it legally in Florida. Um, and they're there for you for training or anything that you might need, documentation. So like I can put it in the system, and they have a client that I've sold a home to 2 years ago. They keep that stuff on file in case we ever need it.
right, okay, okay, yeah. So they do all the paperwork and stuff. It's a lot of paperwork that goes
Oh
into
yeah.
buying a house, man. That's the most paperwork you'll probably sign in your life, man.
Oh yeah,
More than
yeah.
a car, more than an apartment. It's a lot of paperwork going through.
Especially when you're buying. So you learned that about a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah, yeah, man. You
The
and you
seller's
have to.
seller stacks like this. Yours is
Oh
yours
yeah.
is yours is like this.
They have to. It's just so much stuff you have to go
Oh yeah.
back and make sure that it's legit and up to date and I think I had a pretty smooth experience, but I've heard of horror stories.
Oh, there's
People,
some bad ones out there I've heard. Oh.
yeah, man. I've heard
It
some bad horror stories, man. You gotta like show them like you have to update your pay stub every 2 weeks. Every time you get paid, you have to
Oh
show
yeah.
them this, you have to show them that, you have to clean this up, you have to clean that up, you have to, yeah, you got to get your credit score here, you got to keep it
Oh
here,
yeah.
you got. It's a
Once you
lot that goes
even
into it.
once you're under contract, you gotta keep that credit score where it is. You gotta make sure that you don't go out and ruin your credit in any way. Don't buy a car. Don't go buy furniture for your new home that you're about to move into. I've seen that happen. Not with any of my clients or anything, but horror stories that I've heard where they went out and bought $6,000 worth of furniture. Their credit was on the line, and they couldn't get the house because they bought that furniture, which is
Oh, man.
horrible. Which is horrible. We hate seeing that. But I'm always really upfront with my clients. I'm like, "Hey, you can't do this. Definitely don't do these things here, and it won't cost
Right.
you in the long run." So,
You got furniture, but nowhere to put it.
yeah, yeah, that would be a pretty sticky situation for sure.
Yes, sir, man. So after you get your license and you get up under a broker, um, do other realtors take you out with them and show you how did it work for you?
So in order to learn, and it's good if you can find someone. I always say you learn the most from people who are doing it better than you at the time.
Right,
Um, and if you can, sometimes people don't want to, but there are people out there who are willing to teach. And I would definitely reach out to those who are doing well or successful in the business and learning from them. If
right,
they let you shadow them, that's awesome. I would definitely recommend that.
right. And now, what we used to do is very, physically taxing on the body.
Hmm.
What's the difference between, you being a realtor and you being, a selector in a warehouse?
Oh gosh. I can't really compare the 2, but yeah, definitely one is super, super physical, just kinda drains your body, you're tired. Um, Real estate's similar, but it's more of in a mental capacity. You're definitely still tired at the end of the day, especially your busy days where you're on the road constantly, maybe
Right,
showing homes to 2 or 3 different clients, and you come back home and then you're still not done. You gotta write, offers if you want, you gotta get them to sign it, then you gotta send it out to the real estate agent on the other end. It's a long day sometimes, but
right.
it's worth it.
I had my realtor coming all the way from like past where you. I think he was coming from. It's past Orlando, it's around Kissimmee area. So I think,
Oh,
but he
okay. Yeah,
he
he
was
he
he
had a good
was
drive.
he was driving, man, and then we had to go all the way across Ocala. We come from one end of Ocala to the other end, and like he was pretty solid, man. But
That's
it's a
good,
lot
that's
of
good.
driving and a lot of commitment, man. He had a like a. Do you guys have like a portal that where your client likes houses and you can see the houses that they like and then you just pull them up and take them there. How does that work when it comes
Oh,
to
yeah.
showing
Yeah,
clients housing?
yeah, absolutely. So whenever I meet somebody, I have a new client, we do like a buyer's consultation where we'll figure out exactly what they want in a home, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, how many square footage, all that kind of stuff, how much acreage you might want, your price point, and then obviously where you want to be, what cities. Then we start sending them stuff that might match that criteria to their email or by text, whatever they prefer, and then we just keep reaching out. Follow up is the key when it comes to real estate.
Right,
As long as you're there to help, and don't seem like you're trying to sell people constantly. I hate that word salesman when I don't feel
right,
like a salesman at all. I always tell my people when I'm there showing them a home, I'm not here to sell this home to you. I want you to love it, and then it's my job to get it for you for the
right,
best price I
right.
can.
So what about how have the bidding wars been lately?
Right. We have seen the last 2 or 3 months it has slowed down. Um, it's obviously going to be by locations. If you're in East Orlando, there's still going to be some bidding going on if it's a really nice home. You're not going to see 20, 30 offers anymore like you did 6 months ago. I went to one and it had 50 offers.
Wow. Did they put in an offer as well?
They did, but they pretty much. I mean, you do that,
Yeah,
and a lot I could go into further detail, but it's a certain type of loans are harder to get accepted, especially against, others, FHA versus a conventional or cash. Um,
right.
54 offers, I think they probably had like 10 cash offers. We just kind of
Wow.
weren't going to beat it. Um, but you always put it in there. You never know. We send a letter um, talking about our client, their family.
Right.
Sometimes people emotionally attached to things like that,
Right.
and it happens sometimes. So do everything we can. Um, I'll never tell someone not to write an offer. You never know what the answer. The
Right.
worst you can get is a no, right?
Right. Right. It doesn't get any worse.
Right, exactly.
So, when it was we looked at a few houses, and we had somebody come from up under us and offer a cash like the same day as we offered, and it was a nice home, nice 2-story home, character and everything,
Hmm.
and we loved it. And somebody offered cash. We just had to move on.
Yeah,
Um,
it's tough.
so let's go into the loans. I know about conventional FHA. What's that? USDA loans.
Hmm.
How many loans are there?
So you've got obviously you mentioned USDA and VA. USDA is only in certain areas. VAs for all of our veterans. They don't have to do any kind of down payment if they don't want to. That's their benefit to being a veteran, which is well deserved.
Yes, sir.
And then we have conventional loans and an FHA loan. Not a huge difference. It's a little bit tougher to get an FHA loan accepted over others because there's a thing in the real estate world where that people feel like it's a little bit tougher on the inspection period.
Right.
So if the home has a few things wrong with it, they try to steer away from that and go towards the conventional route. Um, but it's not necessarily true. So we're trying to work on educating people, even within our field, to try to don't run away from the FHA loan. There's really strong buyers in the FHA as well, and it's as long as they're not super picky on the inspection, we can move forward and we can have smooth closings. We do it all the time. So
Right. Right. Um, okay. So I know before you get the loan, there's a process. The first step is what to get pre-approved, right?
absolutely, yes. So what I would do, a lot of people might tell you to find your own lender or mortgage broker. Um, you can do that. What I would recommend is first find your realtor that you like, and that knows the areas that you're looking at, and then ask them if they have a preferred lender. The reason I say that, they're only using that lender because they've had good success with that person. They're a good communicator, and
Right.
the lenders that I use are available anytime. I can call them on the weekend. They don't stop working weekends. And I can say, hey, we just saw a home at 7 o'clock tonight. I'm driving home. Can you send me a pre-approval for this price? It's in my inbox before I get home, and I write the offer and send that in with the offer. Um,
Right.
uh, Trust your realtor if you can. um, I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but definitely they're using these people for a reason. A lot of people, you know, especially ones who haven't bought a home before, they'll jump to like Rocket Mortgage, those big names. Um, they're not all bad. I'm not saying they're all bad, but those big companies sometimes the communication's not there. Sometimes they're too busy. So our preferred lenders are really good, and they usually actually do end up getting you a little bit better interest rate as well.
Right, right. And I know that you have, when you have that rapport with people, that you can be more personal and more hands on, and that person can get the job done if you're going to them. Because I had a realtor, and I had he linked me to the loaning agent.
Hmm.
So they both work together. They've done many deals before, so they work well with one another. So.
Yeah, and that might be why your deal was so smooth and you didn't have to worry about it as well.
Right,
Um, yeah, I've worked with some where, my clients had someone already and it was difficult to even get a hold of the person. I like to be able to call my person, but hey, we just finished our inspection. You can go ahead and order the appraisal. Let's get the thing going. That way we hit our closing date without any problems. Um,
right,
and sometimes these lenders are able to be in other states. So things are different, laws are different. They may not know everything that's going on here in Florida. Here in Florida, the closing date is when we need to close. If you go to like New York or something like that, a lot of things are run through attorneys and there's big delays. So that closing date's not really a closing date. They might close 60 days after that closing date.
wow.
Um, it's crazy up there. I'm glad I'm here in Florida and they're all moving here.
Yeah, yeah, I know because when I had to extend, like if you go past that closing, that you have to file for an extension
Exactly.
because
Yep.
I had to
And
extend it a week.
yeah, and it's really up to the seller if they want to do it. But chances are they're already that deep in. They've probably waited at least 30 days if you did a loan. Um, they might as well see that last week out most of the time.
Right.
So yeah, it certainly happens. Sometimes, the loan might take a little bit longer, the underwriting process. They might need another couple days, which is no big deal. Sometimes people are in a rush, but it's
Right.
they'd rather wait that week than have to go back on market and wait another 45 days. So,
Right. Right.
it is what it
Well, it
is.
was on them because it was. I don't know if you remember the snowstorm that happened up in New York, and
Hmm.
it was a real bad snowstorm. They had to FedEx the documents down, and
Oh gosh.
yeah, it got caught up in it, so I had to extend it, and then they like signed something wrong, and so that was the only horror story part about mine. That was the only delay. But after the pre-approval, now is the pre-approval that is just a ballpark figure of what you can actually get.
Right. So usually I like to tell my lenders and my clients to get a maximum pre-approval. So that'll tell them the top dollar amount that they can buy. So if it's for 500,000, we don't look over 500,000 unless we feel like we can get it down to 500,000.
Right,
So that gives them a max. I never tell them that you have to spend your max. Spend what you want to spend monthly on your mortgage payment.
right,
If that's 300,000, that's fine, but just know what your top dollar is. You know if you're qualified, and you don't have to worry about anything from that point on. We can just start finding you a home and worry about negotiating and getting under contract.
right. So pre-approval, find a realtor, which will find you a loan agent. That's what it's called, right? A loan agent.
Oh yeah, loan officer.
Loan officer, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So you get your pre-approval, or find your realtor, get your pre-approval. You
There
can
you go.
do those. Those are
Yeah.
interchangeable, I
Yeah,
guess.
sure. You could absolutely. If you know someone and you know they do a good job, go with them. There's just nothing wrong with that. I don't push people. I'll tell them one time, hey, I only use this person because they do an awesome job.
Right,
We have ease of mind. We know this loan's going to close if you're pre-approved with them. Because a lot of my loan officers, they will get all this paperwork and stuff up front, so
right,
you're fully approved when they approve you. Sometimes companies, they'll just talk to you on the phone and you say, "Oh, I make $60,000." Like, okay, cool, you're approved, but they didn't actually get any documents. So
right,
sometimes when people say, they might be off 20 grand and then they may not be approved when you get to the home.
right. So okay, after you get that, you need to know which loan you're going to go with first, or which type of loan.
Yeah, that's gonna be completely up to your loan officer. They're gonna guide you, which one will be your best. If you can qualify for a conventional, if you're doing a loan, um, they're gonna want you to do that. That's gonna be the easiest path for you. Getting your offers accepted and things like that. That's the strongest loan. Um, Obviously, if you're a veteran, you're gonna go straight VA because you don't have
Right,
to. That saves you a lot of money up front. Why wouldn't you? Um, and yeah, I mean, your loan officers, that's their area of expertise. They're going to guide you through that, which one is best for you. And then from that point on, I know what to put in the offers, and we work on getting you the best home for you.
so with the conventional, that's the for the first time home buyer is the 3.5 down, right?
For conventional, if it's first time home buyer, you can do 3% down.
Okay.
If you're not, you can do a 5% down. FHA is 3.5%.
So which one is 20%?
Um, Actually, it could be it could be any of them. There's not one that's for sure 20% unless you're buying it as like an investment property.
Okay.
And then it has to be at least 20% usually.
Okay. All right, but I know that 3.5 is that's for first time home buyers, right?
The 3.5 is actually it's just FHA. And the only reason the difference between conventional and FHA is like debt to income ratio. There's little numbers that the lenders run, and they figure out which one you fall under. Usually, the people with the conventional, they probably have a little bit higher credit score, and their debt to income is a little bit lower.
Right,
Um, and then if your debt to income is a little bit higher and your credits, maybe a little bit lower, it doesn't even have to be lower, but your debt to income might be a little bit higher, then you'd fall into that FHA, which isn't bad. It's just 3.5% down instead of three
right. And
if
that's on
you're
the
first time.
right, and that's on the final price of the home.
Correct. Yep.
Um, and so when the base uh, credit score is, I think, is a 580 with the conventional.
So there's some, it could be, it just depends which lender you really work with.
Okay, okay,
So some can get you approved down at a 580 around there. Most of them are going to tell you they want you around 640. But they can usually make it happen as long as you don't have too much debt or something. That
right,
person at that 580 score is really like a one in a million. It's like a needle in a haystack
right, right,
situation. It's that person's going to have to make a good amount of money, and their debt to income needs to be really low in order to
right.
qualify with that credit score. So they're out there. I just don't want to tell you like, oh yeah, it's definitely 580 when, and then I have everybody calling these loan officers.
Yeah, yeah, man. I got a 582. Let's go, baby. Yeah, man. That credit is the way that home buying is now. It's a lot based on credit and that
hmm
income. So that credit it's a game changer.
Oh yeah, and I definitely recommend if your credit's low and you know you want to buy a house in the future, don't run away from talking to a realtor and a loan officer as well. A lot of times they want to help you fix your credit. They have a vested interest in you as well. They want you to end up buying a home at the end as well. So
Right.
they'll help you fix your credit and get you where you need to be, give you some advice. And then once you're ready, then you're ready to start looking.
Now let's talk about down payments. How are all the ways that you can get a down payment for a home?
So you're saying like how you can actually pay them?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So usually down payment is going to become it's basically just going to come at closing. You can do cashier check, something like that at closing, wire transfers, just simple things like that. They're going to give you instructions from that title company on how to pay your down payment. And then you just kind of follow the instructions. Make sure that you're not wiring money to the wrong person. A lot of
Right.
wire fraud going on out there, so you have to be very careful. Double check your numbers, and don't send 10, 15 grand to somebody
Right.
randomly.
Well, isn't like when you're like offering on a home, you have to put like a uh, I don't know what you call it.
Oh, like the escrow deposit.
Yeah, like it's like what, $1,000, $2,000 or so, depending on the
Yeah,
price of the house.
right. Yeah. So typically, I try to put like 1% of the purchase price of the home. So if 200,000, I have my people put like 2 grand down. That would come once your offer gets accepted, and I usually do it within the first 3 days, business days, because title companies don't work the weekend.
Right.
Um, so yeah, you put that down up front. Then you have an inspection period. It might be a 7-day inspection window. You do your inspection. If you find something you don't like on the inspection, you want to back out, you get that escrow deposit back to you. You don't lose that. The only thing you lose would obviously be the price of the inspection. But
Right.
if you see $20,000 worth of damage on your inspection,
Right.
totally worth it. Let's move on to something else.
Yes. Yes. And that's something that wasn't explained to me, or as it's not, popularly talked about, is
hmm
the inspection and the uh, what is it? The appraisal. Nobody
Appraisal.
talks about those things, and so when it
Very
comes up, it's
important.
like, oh, I got to spend $600, $700 on, the appraisal. I got to spend another $300 on
Right.
this. So people only talk about that down
That
payment.
down payment.
You
There's
know,
there's more costs associated with buying a home for sure. The two that you're going to have up front when you first go under contract, you're going to have your escrow down payment and you're going to have your inspection if you choose to do one. Some people waive them. I always recommend getting them done. You never know what
yes,
you're going to find, even if it's a new home. Definitely get it
yes,
inspected. So you'll have those two costs. Home inspection should be between 350 and 600, depending on what you need to get done. Sometimes there's WDO, which is just a termite inspection here in Florida, wind mitigation, and a 4 point. You only need those if your home insurance asks for them. So
okay,
if they don't, then always try to just pay for the base home inspection, which is cheaper, 350, usually with the guy that I send people to. And he doesn't try to get you to pay 600 up front. He's like, if you need it, let me know, and then I'll charge you it.
right,
Um, so those are your two costs up front. Your appraisal is going to be about 500, $600 as well, but usually that's thrown into the at the closing table.
okay, okay. Man, this is some really, really good information, man. We appreciate you for the information that you're bringing. But let us take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Barry Mcswain.
Awesome.
Degrees of separation connecting you to the source.
If you want to represent your faith with your fashion, go to gospelgains.com. If you want to show your salvation on your sleeve, gospelgains.com. GOSPELGAINS. Type in the word degrees at checkout. You'll get a 15% discount on your entire purchase. All right, and we're back, man. All right. With the now going back to the down payments, you can get that from savings, a gift,
Hmm.
401k.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, but you can't just show up with an extra $10,000 unaccounted for, right? You have to show the
Absolutely.
you have to you have to show where you got the money from, right?
Right. So throughout the process, they're going to keep asking you for your bank statements all the way up to closing. If they see something, they're like, "Hey, what? Obviously we know how much you get paid. We see your bank statements. Where'd you get this $20,000 um, deposit right into your bank account here right before closing? It looks a little
Right,
suspicious." They're going to ask you. They're going to figure out what it is. So don't try to fool them. They're going to find out. But yes, definitely. There are ways you can say, hey, as a gift, things like that. You're gonna have to write a letter, but it is gonna be a big thing. They're gonna ask you about it. Um, but definitely, just be upfront about it. Say, hey, I might have a family member that's they're gonna give me money. It's just a gift, but you're gonna have that family member write you a letter saying this is a gift. So don't just say that like you're getting a loan, and then you're gonna have that family member write you a letter saying it's a
right,
gift.
right.
You,
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. And like you said, if you got 401k, you could take a loan out on your 401k for a down payment. But you have to show where you getting this
yes.
money from.
Yes,
You
they're
know,
they're
and,
gonna they're gonna track the money straight to your account. They're gonna follow the flow of money wherever it came
right,
from, where it finally sits at the end. They will find out. They have access to everything, and for a good reason. They need to
right,
make sure that
right.
people are doing stuff legally to get homes.
Right. Yes. Another good way, that I've thought about over the years is, every time you get a tax return, you're getting four, five, six, $7,000 at a time. Take that, put it up. You know, in
Absolutely, yeah.
2, 3 years, you have your down payment for your house.
That's it's a really good piece of advice. And there are special programs out there. I'm not saying everybody offers them. I do have one lender that will offer that kind of thing, and he gets really busy around tax season for that reason. He's found a way to do an FHA loan where you can actually roll your down payment into another loan. So you're
Wow,
basically not paying it up front if you don't have a bunch of money up front.
wow,
And you can kind of use um, that tax refund that you get, 6, 7 grand that you mentioned, you can use that towards closing costs with the title company as opposed to just
right,
a down payment. So it kind of saves you a little bit. It will be on a loan. You're eventually going to have to pay it back.
right.
But if you want a home and you don't want to rent, and as you know, rent, I don't know if you may not, but I know the
Oh, I
rent is
know,
the rent is insane right now. It's
I
it's way
know.
more
Yes,
expensive to rent than it is to own right now, and people have to look at real estate as an investment. Buy the home, and 5 years down the road, if you have to move, sell your home, and 95% of the time, your home value is going to keep going up and up and up every year.
right,
Um, and all that money you've invested in the home, you're going to end up most likely getting back, or
right,
and more.
right.
Like
Trust
you
me, I
said, you're
know about it.
you're 50K up already, right?
Yes, sir. Last time I checked, probably more than that now.
It
But
probably is.
when I was leaving a 3 bedroom, 2 bath apartment at 1465. The next year is going to be over 2,000,
Yeah, and they,
and
they they all they do is they keep going up and
it's
up and
only going
up.
to go up.
It's just like a storage unit. You get the first month free. It's $100, and then they hit you 2 months later. Oh wait, it's 250 now. Oh wait, now it's 400.
Yeah,
It's all part of their system. That's what they do. They're gonna clean it out. They're gonna get somebody in there who will pay more, and they'll do it to them too until they move.
yeah,
It's just part of their business model. It's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
eventually you're gonna have to move around a lot probably because not everybody can afford to pay $2,500 for an apartment. It's a lot of money.
Yes. I went from that to 4 bedroom, two bath, 2 car garage, front and back lawn, 11 and some change.
Yeah,
You know,
that's awesome.
11 and some change. You know,
So much better, right? It's a nice
it's so
release.
much better. Yes, 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 so much better. But another thing that can happen and happened to me with my appraisal, it came in under the asking price, and
Okay.
so with that appraisal, it was explained to me that that's the price of the house for the next 6 months, and
Mhm.
if they don't want to sell it, they can't sell it over that appraisal for the next
Right.
6 months. So is that how that works?
Yes. So if it comes in low, they can't sell it for that price for a loan. If someone comes in and they want to pay more for cash,
Okay.
they absolutely can because they don't do an appraisal for cash deals.
Okay.
They don't have to. Some cash people will still want an appraisal just to know that they're not overpaying for a home, but most don't. They just come in, they do their research, they find out how much they think the home's worth, and they pay that amount. But yeah, if you are doing a loan, you're going to have an appraisal. If the appraisal comes in low, it's another period of negotiation. You're technically really not under contract in that
Okay.
period because
Okay.
then you're talking to one another. Let's figure out what we have to do. Obviously, your bank is not going to give you $500,000 if the appraisal came in at 480. So we
Right.
have to figure out what to do with this $20,000. Is the seller going to come down? Sometimes the buyer has money to cover some of the costs. So that's, if you have another 20 grand in the tank, not most,
Right.
most people don't,
Right.
on top of what you're already about to spend, you're more than welcome to do that, cover that gap. We were seeing a lot of that when it was super busy
Right.
6 months ago. All these offers, people were just waiving appraisals altogether. So if the appraisal came in at 480 and it was 500, they just paid 20 extra grand out of their pocket. Like they just covered it.
Jeez.
That's what they had to do to get into a home. Some people, they had no choice. If you're moving for work or something and you got to find a home in a month, you just got it.
Right.
They just had to pay.
Wow. Wow. I've been seeing you closing on. I see when you post your closing and stuff like that, man.
hmm
It's
Shout
really
out to my
dope.
wife. She's my marketing lady.
Okay, yeah, I mean, y'all doing a good job, man, and it's really, really nice homes that you're selling, man.
Mhm.
And man, I'm happy for you, man. And it's dope to see
Appreciate it.
you out there doing it, man.
Yeah,
And we have to.
it's been fun. The main thing we just try to help as many people as we can. There's no bottom amount to who will help. If you're looking for 50 grand, you're looking for 100 grand, you're looking for a
Right,
million. We help everybody the same. We feel like good karma. We help everybody, and you never know. If they have family members, and we want to help everybody we can.
right. What's the longest that you've shown someone a house without them buying?
Um, let's see. During the period of all these crazy offers, I had a few FHA buyers, like I mentioned, very, very hard to get accepted. Um, I think I probably showed this one couple probably about 80 homes before we
Wow.
actually got accepted. It was a
Whew.
grind to say the least.
Yes.
And it wasn't just in one area. We looked all over Orlando. We were in Groveland. I mean, we went everywhere. It was a lot of traveling. But it's just
Jeez.
something, when you give someone that commitment that you're going to help them, I take that very seriously. I'm not going to give up on you. Um, they needed a home. They were sick of paying rent, and
Right.
they were committed to finding it. And we finally did. They finally closed. Really grateful. We were grateful that we were able to help them.
Right.
So it was just a happy day for everybody.
Yes. Yes, sir. Let's
Put a lot of
celebrate.
miles. Put a lot of miles on our cars. Both
Yes,
of
sir.
us.
80, that's a lot, man. I think I
hmm
seen maybe 10 or less. And that's oh my goodness.
hmm
Have you seen any of the companies that's been coming in and buying up
Oh
bulk
yeah, yeah.
inventory?
That was part of the struggle during that period. The last 2 years up until 3 or 4 months ago, we saw, Open Door and Zillow. They were just coming in and they would pay 20 grand over list price cash. They don't even look at the home. They don't even get a showing. They don't look at
Wow.
it. Here it is. I mean, and to a seller, we when I'm the listing agent, I try to get it to a family if I
Right.
can. Um, but to a certain point, you're really kind of your hands are tied. Their offers way better than everybody else's,
Right.
and you got to do what's best for your client and what your client wants. Um, if it's tie, we always go to the family. I always try to go to the family. But for sure, like lots and lots of big investors were coming in, paying cash, or they would put 20% down, really strong. They'd show you their proof of funds, and they've got 10 million in the bank. You know the deal's going to go through. It's a
Wow.
given thing, and it was rough. It was rough for people who are families that are actually out there needing
Right.
an actual home. These people were just buying them to rent them back out.
Right. Yeah. I'm getting solar panels put on my house.
Nice.
And the guy was explaining to me that there are 2.6 million people coming into Florida to move into Florida last year.
Oh, absolutely.
2.6 million. Yeah.
Yeah, we were the top state where everybody was moving to because of we didn't have as many restrictions. We didn't shut down all the way.
Right.
New York, they were really locked down for a while there. So
Right.
we saw a ton of them, New Yorkers coming down here, and it's a lot cheaper down here compared to New York. I mean,
Yes.
you live in the city up there, they're paying $4,000 a month for rent in a studio apartment, and
Yeah.
they come down here and they're like, oh, I can buy a house for 2,000 square feet for 300, 350. Why
Right.
not? What a
Yeah.
great deal.
And no state tax.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a big one too.
Yeah. A lot of people were moving from California to Texas and from New York to Florida.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
California. Yeah, they fled to Texas. Most of them. We did get some of them here too.
Okay.
But Texas definitely took most of the Californians, and we got a ton of the New Yorkers. For a while there, that was most of our client base was New Yorkers
Right.
over
Right.
Floridians. It was they were
Jeez.
coming down like crazy.
Now, how strong is the housing market? Because a lot of people are afraid of what happened in '08 happening now, but that's a different
Oh yeah.
scenario, right?
Yeah, yeah. So what happened in '08 is completely different than what's happening now. '08, I always joke that the lenders would give out a loan to anybody who could fog up a glass. Um, you could tell them, oh, I have money. Okay, here you go. Here's your loan. They were giving out second mortgages, third mortgages.
Wow.
They didn't really have any systems in place. They weren't double checking these people could actually pay for these houses
Mm,
with any money.
yes.
And of course, it just plummeted, and everybody stopped paying for homes. The mark it was just really bad situation for a lot of people. Houses went from 400,000 to $150,000 in the blink of an eye. Um, and it's one of the rare times you'll see the real estate market actually went down.
Right.
Usually, it's a nice gradual increase, but what's happening now is nothing like that. We're just seeing, for a while there, we had really low inventory, and it had a lot to do with COVID. People were staying in, they weren't wanting to move. Inventory was low, a lot of buyers still, so that ended up being what happened. We had low inventory, um, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people looking for
Right.
homes, and just a teeny amount of homes on the market, and that's why there's so many offers on each home. But now it's starting to flatten out a little bit because interest rates did go up a little. Um, and that was the thing. The interest rates were at a historic low. I mean, they were the twos at one point,
Yeah.
2%.
I got mine at 3.25.
That's awesome. Stay there. Stay there. Uh,
Okay.
3 years ago, I got mine for like I think it was 3.99, which was really good then.
Okay.
But I had a few loans go through for clients that were 2.75, and I'm like,
Wow.
I mean, that is historic low. My parents bought a home in 1989, and theirs was like 16%.
Whew.
That's just what it was back then.
Yeah.
And they didn't think anything of it. Yeah, yeah, it's different. They bought the home for 80 grand as opposed to us
Right.
buying our
Right.
homes
Right.
for 400. But
Right.
but yeah, that's just. I mean, that's the way it is. The market has flattened a little bit, which I think is a good thing. It needed to. It
Right.
needed to shape it up a little bit to where families had a chance of getting these homes and not Zillow and not Open Door and not these big investors that teamed up because the housing was expensive, and usually
Mhm.
that's not a good time to be an investor, but they all just bunched together and made this giant group, and they were just buying everything. I mean, there's not a lot people can compete um, when you have normal jobs, and
Right.
and these guys have millions and millions of dollars in the bank. So it was
Were
tough.
they buying up like subdivisions, or were they buying like single houses here and there? How was that working?
So that's the thing. They did have a little strategy. So they would go into the neighborhoods that they feel like they could get someone in there, a renter in there quick, and for a decent amount. Which people were they had to take what they could get at some point. There wasn't a lot out there. If you're moving to Florida and you can't find a home and the market's tough, what's your first thing you got to do? You have to go look for rentals. So
Right,
they pretty much knew they had people, and they were charging whatever they were charging whatever they wanted. They charged $2,400 for a 1,500 square foot home, and people had to pay it. And it was unfortunate, but that's why we always tried to steer away from them. We wanted the family to get into the home
right,
if we could.
right. Have you sold any tiny homes?
No, I haven't. I haven't
I
dipped into that
love
yet.
those things, man.
They're definitely interesting. There's I don't know if I could ever pull that one off. I think I need a little bit more space.
If I didn't have all these children I have, man, I think I could do it, man. I
Yeah.
don't know if my wife would be down,
How,
but I
how
think
how
I
many
could.
are you up to now?
Man, I got five now, man.
At five? Did you add another one after I was gone?
When'd you
I think
leave?
I think you were just having one right when I left.
So I think I made had my what 3 years ago.
I
Yeah,
left I left probably about 3 years ago now, yeah.
yeah, I've had it two since.
Oh my gosh. You're
I've had it, yeah.
you have I can't believe you have time for this right now.
But right now they're in the house having movie night with my wife.
Oh, there
We
you go. There you go.
have
That's
movie
good.
night every night, man. So
Cool.
yeah, I got a three. My youngest is 3 months now. Three,
You're gonna
four
need
months.
some more
About 4 months.
bedrooms soon.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I got four bedrooms. When I got here, everybody had their own room.
Right.
Now, they have to share one. Well, I have four girls and a boy,
Okay.
so the
Oh, you're
baby's still.
outnumbered.
Yeah, man. Me and my son outnumbered. So two girls share, and then the baby's still in the room with me and my wife. But I
Okay.
was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna have to go get five bedrooms, man.
Yeah, 5 or maybe 6,
I
There
got.
might
I
be
need to
more
get.
in the future, you never
I
know.
know we're done, man. We're done. We're done. I'm just got to go get a shack and put it in the backyard, and I'll go out there, man.
Get your little tent set up out there for yourself.
Yeah, man. It's accountable for now, but I know probably when they start to get older, they're gonna want their own separate space, and hopefully,
Sure.
I'll be a millionaire like you, and I could go.
Oh,
You
no, no, no.
know.
I wish I was. I wish I could say, "Yes, I definitely am," but I'm nowhere near.
Yes, sir. So with the housing market, where's the interest rate at now?
So right now we're pretty much in the mid fives,
Okay,
creeping into the sixes if your credit score is on the lower end of being qualified. Um, Still, obviously it's higher than what we're used to in the last year or
right,
two, but
right, right.
they were historically low. Like they have never been that low before. We're kind of in the middle right now, kind of just
Okay,
a moderate interest rate. But yeah, a lot of people are scared just because it's a lot higher than what they've seen recently. People don't they get a little scared of change sometimes,
right,
uh, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, the interest rates aren't anything crazy. Yeah, your payment will be a little bit higher, um, but in the meantime, if prices are able to drop a little bit as well, that might counterbalance it. So.
right. And what would you during refinancing? How would you recommend that happen?
So usually you can do that with the same lender if you used one of the preferred lenders. They usually can take good care of you. My dad just did it with one of the lenders that I always use, and I used for my own loans when I buy houses. I use people that I've used myself. Um, but yeah, you can talk to them. They're the professionals in that field. They'll talk to you. They'll say, "Hey, let's run some numbers. If it makes sense, let's do it. If it doesn't, any good lender out there will tell you, wait, don't do it right now. It doesn't make any sense."
So, what would be the point to refinance?
Point to refinance. A lot of times, if like right now, what's happening a lot, people have tons of equity in their homes. So they might want to, if we have $200,000 in equity in my home, I could take some of that money out. Um, and then the home gets reassessed, reappraised, and then your loan will go under a new interest rate based on where the interest rates are right now, not when you bought it. Um, so then you can take that money out, pay off debts that you might have, anything like that. My dad did something similar. He paid off a few vehicles and got himself a little bit more financial stable. He's not moving anywhere. He's like, why not? His payment went up, I think, $200, um, because the home value when he
Right.
first bought it was appraised for 270, and now it's appraised at 400.
Right.
So that's why we saw that increase. But to a lot of people, that would be worth it. And you can do it for other things. A lot of people get pools put in, and they get home work done in
Right.
their
Right.
homes. So
So with the refinance, what I lost my train of thought. What would be the uh, benefits or the non benefits for refinancing?
non-benefits. So generally, right now, if you're doing it just to get try to get a lower rate, a lower monthly payment, you're probably not going to get that if that's your main reason.
Right.
Because we saw the market go up. We saw the interest rates go up. Unless you bought years ago when the rates was maybe 8, 9, 10%, something like that, and then you're dropping down to a five and a
Right.
half,
Okay.
that might save you some money. But if you're looking at it strictly to get your monthly payment down, and you bought in the last 2 or 3 years, it's probably not worth it unless you can get your interest rate lower than what it was before.
Right. This was something that somebody said to me. I want to know if this is a true statement.
Mhm.
As long as you have a house, you're never broke.
That's true most of the time. The people in '08 might tell you something different. But that's, like I said, very rare. That's an anomaly. Doesn't happen often at all. It's only happened a few times in the history of our country. But yeah, most of the time, your value is always going up while you're paying off the house. So that the value that you owe is going down and your value is going up. So then you've got all this in the middle here that you can cash out if you just want to. You sell it
Right.
one day. You always have that in your back pocket. So if you hit hard times and you have $100,000 in equity, sell your home if you have to. You can do what you want. Obviously, make the best financial choice
Right.
for you and your family, but you always have that money sitting there if you need it,
So
which is nice.
if you sell your house, do you have to uh, put that money into a new house, or there will be taxes, or how does that work with the taxes of that?
So there is a capital gains fee. I think the rule is if you've lived in it, I think it's 2 of the last 5 years. You don't have to pay a capital gains fee. So you could get that 100,000. It's just yours. Do what you want with it. Um, if you haven't, then you will have to pay that tax fee at the end of the year when tax time comes. And obviously, it'll be a case by case basis how much you owe. Um, but a lot of people avoid that. They stay. Most people have stayed in their homes for at least 2 years, and they're good to go. They don't have to really worry about that.
Yeah,
And
but
there's
you
ways around it. You could do like what is it, 1035? I think there's something like
okay,
that where you can roll that money into another home, and that avoids that whole capital
okay,
gains thing.
okay. I mean, you're gonna have to have somewhere to stay, so that's
Right,
more than
right.
likely what's
So
gonna have to
yeah,
happen.
we always us realtors don't. Oh, we never want to tell someone to go rent. um,
Right,
so we want to always help you buy something because we always look at it as it's an investment in something, and it's the biggest purchase you'll make in your entire life. Most people, you're gonna
right.
buy a home. That's your biggest purchase, other than buying a car and stuff. That's the next closest thing I would think, unless you're buying yachts or something like you. But
With the house and buying houses, and there's a lot that goes into it. Now with escrow, how does but before we get to escrow, have you sold land? Do you sell land as well?
I do. I haven't done as many of those. I try to focus a lot on the residential homes. But yeah, I certainly we do. We work with builders and stuff as well. So if you want to do new construction, a
Mhm.
lot of people think you can just walk in there and talk to someone in the new construction building and get under contract, which you can. You certainly can. But when you do that, there's no one looking out for your best interests. And if you don't know real estate, you don't know what to look for while they're building the home, you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble, and they will take advantage. I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah,
So we have people right now that we're working with on new construction, and we're there to make sure that things go according to plan, like they're supposed to.
right.
um, and it's good to have someone on your side that knows the real estate side of things, because a lot of people. Yeah, and it's normal. I mean, before I got in real estate, I knew nothing about it. I was
Right.
intrigued when I sold my home and moved into the house that I'm in now. I was like, "Oh, wow, that was an interesting process for sure."
Right. Right.
So, started talking, and that's how I got involved. And I was like, that's something I might want to do. Saw a way to help people a little bit more personally, which I liked.
Okay. So back to the escrow. How does escrow work immediately and also throughout uh, the loan, the entirety of the loan?
Okay, so yeah, you're with your realtor, you go to a home, you love it, you write an offer. If they accept your offer, that's when you would put that escrow payment first 3, 5, 7 days, whatever you put in the contract, your realtor does. Um, if it's $2,000, like we mentioned before, you'll pay that. That goes to the title company, so that's where you close.
Right.
They hold that money in an account, non-interest bearing account. They're not allowed to. They just hold it. It's not going anywhere. They're not using it. There's no way that you're going to lose your $2,000.
Right.
Um, they hold on to that. And if you get all the way through the process, if you get through inspection, you get through appraisal, everything's good. Once you come to close, if your closing costs are $10,000 to make it a round number, make it easy, then you only owe eight because that 2,000 just comes back to you.
Right.
You never lose it.
Right. So I noticed that like throughout me paying my mortgage slowly increased throughout the year. Now that's is that and I know the escrow changes on that. So how
Right.
does that work with the escrow?
So your mortgage payment changed at the beginning of the year.
No, as I like it was at the very beginning of my me starting to pay my mortgage. It was like 11-15. Now it's
Mhm.
like in the high 11s, like the mid to high 11s.
Okay. Yeah, so every year your house is gonna get assessed. They're gonna figure out, taxes. So taxes and insurance and stuff are included in most people's mortgage. So if your home was reassessed at a higher um, tax bracket or whatever it is that they say, um, then your bill might go up a little bit. So if your home was $3,000 in taxes last year and it goes up to four, they're
Okay.
going to spread that out over 12 months and your or 30 years or whatever however they do
Right.
that to come up with that number. That's probably why you took a little bit of a jump.
Right. It's only about $50, but and then
Mhm.
so also with my insurance, it was paid through the escrow. It was paid through that. So is that a continual process that it'll always get paid through that, or would I have to cut a check at the end of the year for my
Um,
insurance?
Most people have that as well included into the mortgage. You can shop it around at every year and see if you can get it cheaper and get the same amount. So that could fluctuate your payment as well. I mean, most people usually just sit on the one they get. They get a good deal up front and then they don't shop. But you can,
Right.
if you could save yourself a little bit, why not? Um, but I generally just try to get a good insurance agent or someone that I know I can trust that are going to give me a good deal. And generally, it's not worth all the headache if you're going to
Right.
save like $4. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, sometimes if I never hurts to look. So if you
Right.
get one and you're like, oh wow, that's way cheaper, jump on it. It might save you a few bucks.
Right. Man, that's thank you for the information. So much information you dropped on us. I actually had a guy at work come and asking me about, my process of home buying and all that stuff. I
Hmm.
said, man, just wait. I got somebody coming. And I was like, he gonna be able to give you so a lot of these questions I'm asking from that perspective of the new home buyer. And I mean, gave us a lot of information. And we really do appreciate you here at
Oh,
Degrees
no
of
problem.
Separation.
I appreciate you having me, and hopefully I didn't flood you with too much information. I know it's a lot to take in.
No, it was perfect. Yeah, they can always go back and rewind it and listen back over it, man.
Yeah.
I think you gave us a good, solid, base of information, man. And I might need to be calling you soon, man, when I get ready to sell, make us both some money, man.
Hey man, I'd be happy to help. If anybody has questions, they're free to give me a call. I'm always an open book, even if you're not ready, anything like that. We'll talk it through. We'll figure out what the best course of action is for you, and in the end, hopefully we can get you a house.
Yes, sir. For all the listeners that's not on YouTube right now, let them know what your number is.
Oh, number is 407-267-4924.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, Barry, man. Always a good dude, always a hard worker, man. Always funny. Man, I appreciate again the information. Appreciate you for your time. Also, always enjoys you at work, man.
Yep.
Good, solid dude. Once again, uh, again, you can find us at Degrees of Separation on everything. DEGREEZ. Degrees of Separation on Facebook. Degrees of Separation on all your streaming platforms. If you go to YouTube and type Degrees of Separation, all one word, DEGREEZOFSEPARATION. Separation is one of the most misspelled words out there. Separation, SEPARATION. Degrees of Separation on YouTube, man. You can find us on all streaming platforms. We may be 1 or 2 degrees separated from each other, but when it comes to God, there should be 0 degrees of separation, and we out.
Degrees of separation, connecting to the source.